welcome to a special edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your Hardcore Rickhead, and I'm joined with my Hardcore crew, Joseph Knight and the incomparable Lance Moss. But you know what, guys? We're going to jump right into this because we got one hell of a story. Vince McMahon, he has made his way back to the WWE. A lot of people thought he was gone, but as being an executive shareholder, Vince found his way to wiggle his way back into the company by he elected himself as the executive chairman of the WWE. Guys, what the fuck is going on? Vince just doesn't know how to stay away, Joe.
Hey, I said it. He found a way to come back into the company. It was not a matter of if, it was going to be a matter of when, and the when is now. So it didn't surprise me. He owns the damn thing. He built this since 1983 and 84. So this is a cash cow for him. What does anybody expect Vince to actually do? He lives a lavish lifestyle. He needs that money. It's his. He has majority control. So it didn't surprise me.
All right, Lance. Now, again, we've all talked about that. It's not if, it's when, so I have to agree with Joe on that aspect. But you have to admit, this is a ballsy move by McMahon.
Well, he always did talk about the size of his grapefruits.
Even though how shrinkled and they may be, I guess he still believes in them. And we have Terry 3G in the chat room tonight. So, Terry, we're interested to hear everything you got to say. But so now here's the thing. Not only did Vince come back, but 5 people, the board members, left. 3 of them were fired because Vince brought back Michelle Wilson and George Barrios as 2 of the shareholders. And, of course, Vince took another person's place. Meanwhile, forgive me if I'm pronouncing these names, Ignace Lahoud and Matt Jit Singh resigned from the board. Now, Joe, you were talking about how they were the ones who were behind investigating McMahon?
Yes, they were actually on the board. They're the ones that said, they did the internal investigation. So, obviously, you're not going to stay in a company if Vince comes back because your time in that said company is not going to work well. McMahon holds grudges, and he will put that shit out there to say, guess what? Boom, your guys are fired. So they left on their own accords. And you know what? Guys, we've seen, again, there's Vince is exercising his right to come back. I just wonder, I guess the allegations are over with and nothing came apart from it. So Me Too movement haven't jumped all over Vinnie Mac. So I guess it's over, it's done with. Now it's time for him to make that return. And for the people who the one guy that I get, what was his Sunjeet or whatever it is, he's probably saying, thank you, come again, bye-bye. So it's probably over for them. What? What? I'm just saying, thank you, come again. And Vince will come again. So
that's what got
him
in
trouble and again.
I've got the grapefruit
in the first place.
Very true, Lance. So your thoughts about 5 board members leaving / fired?
Well, for one, I'm wondering if all this is actually legal. Like, is there going to be an a Federal Trade Commission investigation into how he went back into the company?
No. I could tell you, I've studied stuff like this for companies. I'm working in a company now, and also with my professional wrestling company. I've worked in the corporate field. I know how they work and how the legalities and liabilities work. You got to understand, Vince did not he left in a manner that he did not give up anything. He gave up the control of the shows and the company, but was not removed as CEO. Notice Stephanie and Nick Khan were acting CEOs. They were working together. They were placeholders. And anybody that deals in stocks knows that if you hold majority stock, you can easily come back and take over the said company because you own the majority of the stocks. It's a it's a legal trade deal. Like, put it like this: if Elon Musk decided to buy a bunch of shares off of Disney and says I'm taking over, and he's got the majority, of course he's going to have legalities come his way. They're going to have, there's going to be sues, counter sues, and all that. But in this case, this is a family made company. And when one of your co CEOs or his own daughter, she's going to back up whatever daddy does. And this probably was planned out from the beginning. We've seen this many times when Vince was going through that steroid investigation. Remember, Rick? I think you said he had Jerry. Oh, Lance, was it you that said he had Jerry Jarrett ready to take over? So
he did run was in charge of creative while Vince was dealing with the
legalities.
Yeah.
Right. So in this case, it's the same scenario. He stepped back, wait to see what happens, and then when the time came and all this is passed, because I after this we have not heard anything about it. So Rick, he came back in and just said, "You know what? This shit is over with. I'm coming back. Nobody can stop me, and that's it." Terry says, "Yes, Vince will come again till his grapefruits turn to prunes." You know, and Vince does have a history of holding grudges. So take it away, Rick.
Well, again, also with Vince McMahon's return, also caused a huge skyrocket in the WWE stock by 22%, which is now up to $88.40 per share. So, now with all that in mind, there have been rumors or whispers circling around that Vince could be like fattening up the company to sell it. Now, do I think he's going to sell it? I don't think so. But there are other people within the wrestling industry, such as Eric Bischoff, said that, you know what, it's possible that he's doing just that. But we're not sure exactly what his full intentions are. I would have to agree with you, Joe, to say he's just coming back just to get control again. And he's starting very slowly. Speaking of control, Stephanie McMahon did have an all-hands-on-deck meeting earlier today. When short, she reiterated, she reiterated that there will be no changes in management or responsibilities at this time. So theoretically, Paul Levesque, Stephanie herself, Nick Khan, Frank Riddick III, and every other people would also remain in their place in the current positions with. So, but Joe, she said the words "at this time."
That's one of the loopholes. In fact, Terry 3G in our YouTube chat room says, yes, he resigned his position of operations of the company. Remember that phrase. He resigned his position as operations of the company, not giving up the whole company, just that particular duty. That's why it fell onto Stephanie and Nick Khan. But in the future, as majority shareholder, he can dictate how a company is run. And if management decrees that they can force him or disagrees, I'm sorry, if management disagrees, they can force him to sell his majority shares. But he does not have to. And they can try, but he does not have to. So again, this is a situation where everybody else can lose, but not Vince. So in this case, he's not going to sell. He's going to use that over it's basically, if I can't run the ship, then nobody's going to run the ship type scenario. But actually sell it? Oh, hell no. It's a cash cow. He knows it. And if talent, and let me put it like this, talent are not that bright in the WWE. They know they're getting worldwide notoriety. They're getting paid more than an average person. Put it like this: they get paid more than an individual working in a management position. Okay, let's say at a store or security or something like that. They're getting to travel the world. They're getting to do stuff and make a great money out. Not great money, but they're making good money out of appearing. So no one can gripe and says, yeah, Vince is coming back, we're fucked. No, because they know if they say anything, Vince can turn around and order the creative and say, look, he's acting up. Let's shoot him down. We've seen Vince take out grudges against talent who have fucked him over, and he's fucked them even harder. So he can make talent and he can break talent, and we all know that.
Well, that's very true. But again, you've talked about the talent. Right before Vince left, previously, before all the scandals hit, morale was at an all-time low. You know, people were ready to quit. And then again, he was cutting people left and right, but he was also making last-minute changes to creative. Now, as we said right now, he's just an executive member of the board. But how is this going to help him slowly wedge his way back into creative control? Is that possible?
Yes, it is. Again, it's the concept. He is the owner of the company. He is the CEO. He is majority stockholder. Again, this is like a boss stepping away to settle some issues, put somebody temporary in charge, and then he can come back. When you're the head of CEO, you could decide what you're going to do. Bottom line, you know, like Terry says, they can try to force him. He doesn't have to be. And we've seen his attorneys. They're some of the best top attorneys out there. They will fight and say, "Hey, he didn't give up anything. He just gave up his time in management just to take care of some personal issues. Now that those personal issues are completed, we can come back and we can do this." And again, who's going to tell him, because he obviously has control. He can make any changes he wants. If creative doesn't like it, so what? Creative could be changed. And if morale is going to be low with the talent, put new talent in there. Like you said, the majority shares went up. Right now they're more. They're actually. You said, Rick, that they're now actually the stocks have gone up.
Yes, they are by 22%.
That I don't care what company you're in. If your stocks are going up, you're making money. Vince knows that. He's the name. It's like every time he brings in a name. If you bring in The Rock, your stocks go up because it's a legend. It's more buy rates. It's more butts and seats. Vince, regardless of being the owner of the company, is a name, and he is going to. If money is coming in more, he's going to look at everybody and says, "Well, I got more stocks coming in, more money's coming in. What is your problem?" And you're fired, by the way. And that's how it works. Terry said it is possible. Is it possible he sells? Sure. Does he? Probably not, and wants to go to Stephanie and other family members. In the instance as set in the past, the only way to get Vince out is when he passes away.
Yeah, and I think CM Punk said that years ago during one of his notorious pipe bomb.
Oh, we said that on this show multiple times. Yeah.
True, but now obviously we talked about how this goes, the dissension in the ranks. I'm sure there are Vince McMahon supporters, but you'll also have to wonder if those wrestlers that's kind of like, all right, the shit's hit the fan. There was rumors that some are threatening to leave, but no names, of course, was given because there's the Observer saying that, and they haven't exercised that threat, so to speak. Now, Lance, well, let me jump this over to Lance. Lance, what's your thoughts on people possibly wanting to leave WWE now that Vince has returned?
Well, I mean, like you say, under Vince, morale was at an all-time low. And, well, even if they don't legally get out of their contract, the roster could do a formal protest and tell Vince to fuck himself, and they will not walk through that curtain, which would cost him a shit ton of money.
This is true. Well, actually, one of the huge supporters was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns even went on record that after, even when Vince was retired, he said he had nothing but nice things to say about Vince, and that how he always treated him right. You have other wrestlers such as Brock Lesnar, who's not really around, but he does come around every now and again. You had The Undertaker. He's retired, but he was a huge supporter of Vince McMahon. Um, as to other wrestlers down the line, they've never really spoken out that way and say, we miss you, Vince, come back, Vince. But we've also had others that haven't spoken the other way. Because, Joe, one thing you don't want to do, especially when you're working for a company, you want to go public and speak ill of that company you're working for.
Absolutely. Like I said, anybody that believes I don't care if its morale is low. Bullshit. That I call bullshit on that, because no matter what, you're working for a large company that is giving you notoriety. What are you going to do outside of WWE? Go to AEW? Sure. Are you going to be treated right? Maybe. Why do you think a lot of these people leave after a while and come back to WWE? It doesn't matter as long as you're collecting a fat paycheck. And in this case, these guys can gripe and groan and be little babies about it. But at the end of the day, are they going to say anything directly to Vince? Are they going to say anything bad about a boss? No. We're in the era of kissing ass. And these people know better than to kiss anybody's ass. Oh, they'll kiss Vince's ass, but anybody else, it's not going to be a possibility that you're going to see them say, "Oh yeah, Vince is an evil bastard." Let's see how that works for you. If put like this, guys like Roman Reigns, Undertaker, or anybody else, they have nothing to say because Vince gave them that success. He gave them that ability to be who they are. Of course they're not going to say shit to him because Vince can make you and break you. So, in this, Rick, I'm going to call bullshit. Vince is the man. He's going to be the man until he passes away. And there's my dog acting up. But you're not going to see any changes, and you're not going to publicly see people going to go out of their way and ridicule Vince, because they know Vince doesn't have to fire you. Vince can job the shit out of you.
Well, very true, but you do have other two wrestlers, such as Naomi and Sasha Banks, which I know, Joe, you have no liking for, but they up and left because they weren't happy with the regime and how things were going at that point in time. Now, again, Vince, right now, he's just a chairman of the board. He's not really controlling the WWE yet. But, as we said before, guys, this is just a step for him to get to that next spot. So, Lance, again, so what's your thoughts on the rumors of wrestlers wanting to leave and being pissed off and?
Well, like I said, a lot of people have come back that left because of Vince, so it's very understandable why they would. Now, the whole Vince selling thing, I mean, it's possible, but honestly, I can see two other things happening. One, he quote, sells to Stephanie when he's physically about to, well, as we say in the South, shake off this mortal coil, or they put him in the ground and Stephanie assumes the head of the company. That's how I really see things are going to happen.
All right, and again, that's probably right as far as the latter. He's probably going to wait until he's dead and buried. Yeah. The selling aspect, I think, again, people are just toying with, because they've said that for years ago. That I remember a few years ago there was rumors that Vince was going to sell to Disney, and that was like, okay, yeah, that's truly shit can a company. And again, that was also because he wanted to focus on XFL, and that's what people were like, oh, he's gonna go for XFL, and he's gonna sell WWE. Fucking XFL.
I wonder which rumor we've heard more. Vince is going to sell, or Dolph Ziggler is going to leave the company.
Well, you want to talk about other returns. Well, he's not really returning, but John Laurinaitis, or Johnny Ace, apparently will be at WrestleMania weekend, where he's going to be selling some of his stuff. So, Joe,
all his
Johnny,
Polaroids of the women he fucked around with.
no, he probably sold that in the black market already. But
I wonder if the illegal paralegal is going to show up.
Again, I guess he was selling. He's gonna be selling like all of his like shirts and whatever. A lot of other WWE toys and stuff that probably isn't worth a dime now, but it'll be WrestleMania weekend, and one more will be like, okay, hey, what? This is a shirt. I'll buy that for $50.
People power.
Yeah.
So.
But like this, there's always going to be somebody that will buy anything, and in the realm of professional wrestling, there will always be somebody. There's always the term money talks. So if somebody decides honestly that they are, like Naomi or Sasha, I'm sure somebody will say, bring her back. All right, well, you want to make this money or you want to go do whatever you want to do? Well, I want to make money. Okay. Well, here's a paycheck. Great. Sasha Banks is that egotistical and will do it. Any talent will do it. Roman Reigns would say, let's give Naomi another chance. Boom. So, again, we've seen this whole thing, and these folks will kiss enough as to just come back for a paycheck. So again, anybody thinking otherwise, no. It's going. These people will sell out so fast just to get money. So don't be surprised. So, but again, Vince is back. Whatever direction the company goes, whatever happens, you never know.
So. Yeah, well, again, another rumor that's circling regarding Vince McMahon's turn is they're saying that Sasha Banks, when she's done with her New Japan run, she will be going right back to the WWE. So, Joe, I know how much you love Sasha Banks.
Oh, God, that's another one. Oh, my God, the headaches. The headaches. And this is the same person who says, I want to be in the same level as The Rock and Austin, Hogan, and all that. Yeah, you keep dreaming. You're not nobody. You're a nobody in the wrestling business. You had your time. You did your shit. Her ego got the better of her. She thinks she's the shit. She's never going to get anywhere. So she's going to cash in. Right now, she's going to cash in on as much money as possible from this whole ordeal. She's going to make a lot of money from this. So, and that's where it counts. So if there's marks who are willing to pay for Sasha Banks, by all means, you get what you get with her. And she laughs it all the way off because she can make all the money in the world. Now, it's like an indie star. You can go out. So now you got to pay me more. I was on TV. So, and she's going to make that money.
Yeah, absolutely. Lance, your thoughts on the rumor of Sasha Banks returning to the WWE because Vince McMahon's back? Oh.
Yeah. Vince was one of the reasons she left. So, yeah. And Mandy Rose is coming back next week.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. So will Ava Marie, and so with everybody else on that list.
Well, you know what? To be all joking aside, I don't think Mandy Rose, he would bring Mandy Rose back because it was Vince McMahon that implemented that third-party streaming service. Well, but then again, Mandy Rose, he might take an exception. He goes, well, I'll make an exception. I'll bring you back for lesser money because you're already making tons of money. But you got to put me on the your fan site, You
got to be the paralegal, Mandy Rose.
No.
You got to be the paralegal.
How it would be. This is how the meeting will be. Well, I'll bring you back, Mandy. You can get a decent push, and we'll implement half of pay because you make pay here, but you got to do one more thing. Zip, blow, bitch.
It's gonna be back in the attitude era style things done around here.
The scary part is probably not too far from the truth when it comes to Mandy Rose. Hell, shit. I'd do it if I was Mandy Rose. I'm like, come on in. You know, who's gonna say no to Mandy Rose? Shit.
Oh.
All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it for this special edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. This is one topic we were gonna hold off till next Wednesday, but as more news piled in, I'm like, we just can't wait for this shit. This is just something that's gonna have to, So.
Well, we wanted a wake-up call in the wrestling business. Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about how wrestling news has been bleak and dry, and I was like pulling shit out of my ass just to find something. It's like, oh, that happened a week and a half ago, but you know what? We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to thank Terry 3G for coming on as always. Terry, love to have you in the chat room. Also, of course, the Vicious Vixen Zoe Nightshade is not here tonight. She's on the road. Joe, you're over at Skeldon Realms. What's going on?
Not much. I'm going to be doing a stream tonight with my son. We're going to be teaming up for Dead by Daylight. Check us out. Just do the hashtag Scoldrens Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm also on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter at Scoldren. And again, check me out also at scoldrensrealm.live. You can click that merch button. You can see all my T-shirts, all the Hardcore Cruise shirts there as well. Just keep checking in and keep following HWR.
Lance over at Lance Moss TV. Take it away.
Well, every Tuesday night we go live on Lance Moss TV and friends. I never know who's going to show up, and it's at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, and next week actually a week after next, there will be another episode of Redneck Gourmet.
All right, well I can't wait for it. So that wraps it up for this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. For the Hardcore crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying, we'll see you when we see you.
By the shirt!
And pray Vince McMahon doesn't get back in control.